Hello and welcome to this lesson on the concertina for the tune Haste to the Wedding. We're going to play it on this GD Anglo Concertina in the key of D major, and rather than going up and down one row doing a kind of umparing melodian style, we're going to play across the rows just playing a melody line without any accompaniment. So it's going to be lots of fun, so let's make a start. This is a GD Anglo Concertina that I have in my hands here. There are 3 rows. The row nearest to me is the row that we're going to play more than any other because that is the D row. The one in the middle is the G row, and the one furthest away from me is what we call the accidental row, and we're going to play a note on that. So how do we know which row to use? Well, on the music here you can see notes that have normal heads, like the first note there. So those notes are found on the D row, okay, because we're in the key of D major. All F's and all C's are sharpened, so that D row, the row nearest to you, is the main row. So those notes on that row have the normal head. If we have a note that's on the G row, like this one here, this note of G, then this note is found on the G row, the one in the middle. And we are going to play one note on the accidental row, and it's this one here. It's a note of D, and you'll see it's got a normal head, but it has a strike through. So it's actually this note here. So note D is on the accidental row. On this particular concertina, it's on button 8 on the pull, but it might be on button 7 on yours. This is a problem area for concertinas because there are so many different layouts: Jeffries, Wheatstone, Carroll, and that's just 3 I can think of. This particular section of the accidental row can be very different on various concertinas. So on this instrument, this happens to be on button 8, this note of D, but sometimes it's on button 7. Okay, so you'll just have to check your concertina for that. All of the notes are on the right hand side unless I've put LH underneath them, so obviously they're on the left hand side. In fact, the first note is actually on that left hand side, and it's the note A. It's on the push, and it's on button number 5. Now this is a 30 button, so 15 buttons aside plus an air button here. So if I count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this is button 5 on the left hand side. I'm using finger number 1, so pull the bellows out, press that button, push in, and that's your first note. Now that bar is what we call a pickup bar. It's not a complete bar. In fact, you're going to come in on the 6th beat of that bar. We're in 6/8. So 6 beats in the bar split up into 2 groups of 3, compound duple we call this. So you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and come in on that 6th beat with that note. And on the first beat of the next bar is that note again, so you're pushing again. So you need to pull the bellows out before you start. I happen to put the right hand end of my concertina on my right leg, and I've got my right foot supported by a footstool to keep my leg straight. Some people prefer to do it the other way around, but don't put it across your leg because you'll wear your bellows out very quickly. Obviously keep this free end supported properly so that the thing doesn't snake around too much. So there we are, and that's our first 2 notes. Now we then have the note F sharp. Remember, all F's are sharpened, also on the left hand side, and that's finger 2, and it's button 4, so the one underneath we've just played. And then we have a note which is on the G row. We know that because it's diamond headed, and it's on this button here, which is button 6, first button down on this side, on the right hand side on the G row. And then we come back to the A that we played at the beginning, and then we have an A, a high A, an octave higher than that on the first ledger line above the stave. Finger 3, button 8 on the push. We know all these notes are on the push because they're all on the push in this first bar, so I've just put push at the beginning so you know they're all on the push. So you have A and F sharp, fingers 3 and 2, buttons 8 and 7. Now that first complete bar sounds like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You see, so 6 quavers. So it's fairly fast. In actual fact, it's a lot faster than I'm playing it here, but we're going to do it at a nice steady pace so you can keep up. So that pickup bar on the first complete bar sounds like that, and all on the push. And so you've got 4 notes on the left hand side, and the notes that aren't marked are on the right hand side. So make sure your hands are through the straps, make sure your fingers are curling over and that they're falling nicely on the buttons, comfortably on the buttons, okay? And very important that you adjust these knurled rings here on top so that the straps are not too tight or not too loose, just so they're comfortable.